Oh man, we got a lot of people in the chat. They were waiting for us. Guys, welcome to Baitman Live. Special guest tonight. Uh, Debo's Fishing. Iowa Hawkeye fan.
Two wins Friday. It was awesome.
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, my Vols are we're on a downward spiral.
It's all right. Goes in cycles.
But yeah, I'm really excited to have Debo on here. He's been in the streams before, and now he's on the stream, and he is a certified tackle nut. And I'll be honest, I come across this channel maybe about a year ago, it seems. You know, I cruise my YouTube at night, messing around, and here I am. I see this guy. He's doing some unboxings. It's like, man, this guy's video looks good. He knows what he's talking about. And what he doesn't know about, he's like very honest about it. And I'm like, man, I really expect that. So I can see we got some fans in the chat already.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm honored to be on. Thanks for having me.
I think he might be just a little bit behind me too. So I'm gonna go over some comments real quick, and you respond if you want to. Let's see. Hey Debo, I'm a young angler. You really helped me get into fishing and taught me a lot. I really appreciate it.
Heck yeah, that's awesome. Get out there and fish. That's the most important thing. Get a line wet.
Right, Debo has an echo. All right, I can fix that. That means it's time for me to go get my headphones. Be right back.
Well, I don't know what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm excited. Since Baitman isn't here, I'll go ahead and tell you all. And I can't see comments. We're going through Skype, so I don't have it brought up on another phone or anything. But I'm excited because he and Epic Eric just did a live stream talking about some micro and finesse jigs. I'm excited because I'm going to have a video coming out soon because some of those little Kitech micro, the mono spin jig, those are money. So Eric nailed that one.
Oh, Debo, you're gonna have to keep it going for just a second. These headphones don't work.
It might be on my end. It might be my end, guys. I'm sorry. Here I am screwing up his live stream. It might be my echo of him coming through. I don't know if I'm gonna have to put on headphones. I might have to go grab some. If that doesn't work, I'll go grab headphones. But anyway, some micro and finesse jigs, of course. Rand Dizzle was out throwing his War Eagle. If you guys haven't thrown those, the War Eagle heavy finesse jigs, those things are pretty sweet. I don't think I threw any other finesse jigs today. That Kitech mono spin jig was pretty sweet. With the missile baits drop crawl. So when you have a crawl or when you have a jig that small, that missile baits drop crawl looks sweet on there. I had a bunch of people ask me that the other day.
All right, there should be the echo is fixed when I plugged it in. All right, I can hear you nice and clear. There's no echo. We're good. So
okay, I can hear you too. So
yeah, let's talk about a little bit of baits. Let's just roll right into it. You're kind of a bank angler. Nothing wrong with that, man. That's how I started out, and really lately that's what I'm doing. So go over some of your favorite techniques and stuff for bank fishing. I know you're big on that finesse jig.
Yeah, so my buddy Randy got me into the finesse jigs pretty hard. Before that, like I was big at like flipping a jig, swimming a jig. Swim jig's one of my favorites, but like a Texas rig to me couldn't be beat bank fishing because, you know, when you're walking along the bank, you're looking for those high percentage spots. So a lay down tree or brush, a dock piling, anything where you think you've got a high percentage chance. And in my opinion, the Texas rig was hard to beat. But after I kept going out with Randy, you know, he was showing me up with finesse jigs and, you know, was telling me about, you know, using a finesse jig around riprap and all this and that. I'm like, I can outfish you with the Texas rig or a Nico or a Ned rig, you know, something like that. And he just kept out fishing me, and he slowly converted me.
Yeah, so that's you know, my dad would always take me fishing, and live here on Kentucky Lake. We live really close to a very popular marina, and the owners lived across the street from us. So I said, hey, you can go fish off the docks or whatnot, and just be courteous. Never had an issue. and it was red shad worm for life for my dad, and Zoom lizard. And I was about Baitman Junior's age. I was using a bait caster, and I remember throwing a black with the blue tail Zoom lizard. And I was just by myself. My dad was in the marina. He was getting a Coke. You could get a Coke and candy bar for $1 back in the day. And I'm throwing this lizard, and all of a sudden I felt that thump, and I set the hook. And from then I was like, all right, this is the deal. So it was lizard for me forever. And then I started, I got my hands on spinnerbait. I started catching a few on spinnerbait, and then I learned how to walk the dog on topwater, and that was just the most amazing thing to me ever when a fish would come up and eat topwater. And now you look at everything I got here, I can't. If I made a cast every day with a different lure, it might be 10 years before I got to the bottom.
I hear you. I feel your pain.
Yeah, it's a sickness, it's a disease. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I'll buy all this stuff, and then I might use a quarter of it, or I'm a sucker for chartreuse and purple, man. That's my jam. Clear water, dirty water. I'm really confident in it. So my question to you is, what is your confidence base? Like if we put you on an island, you got to catch a bass. What are you going to be most confident in?
Texas rig's got to be up there. Some sort of Texas rig, like a Reaction Innovation Sweet Beaver, the Pit Boss, the Berkeley Pit Boss. That's an oldie, but that's probably caught me 8 bajillion fish. A Texas, it's just so versatile. Like I said, fishing from the bank, and kind of the same for you. When you were fishing with your pops. For me, going out, my old man was a worm. Tequila Sunrise, 8-inch, 7-inch power bait worm. That was strictly all he threw. So I learned to worm fish from him. And I just, I sucked at it. I couldn't ever get like the drag down. I wasn't patient enough. So for me, starting out, spinnerbait was far and away my first confidence lure ever. So spinnerbait, and then I kind of evolved into the Texas rig because of how weedless it was. When you're first starting out, it seems like getting snagged and getting bird nests is every other cast. So you get so, pissed off, and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm getting snagged. So
yeah.
Then I came across the Texas rig, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can run this over wood and not get snagged. So spinnerbait, Texas rig. It was Ned rig for a long time as like my third finesse. But like I said, finesse jigs, I've slowly been converted to those.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this. I love throwing a jig now. That's like I always have one tied on a finesse jig, football jig, or some. I like the compact style flipping jigs, like your dirty jigs, compact jig. The missile mini flip's really good. It's kind of the power finesse deal. But it took me. I was probably 17 or 18 before I felt confident in jig. Like had the boat, and I was fishing tournaments and stuff. And instead of throwing a jig, I was always throwing a worm or some soft plastic. And it took a trip with somebody that was a really good jig fisherman. And also we got on some fish that were really biting to kind of figure out the feel and everything. Once you get that, though, get a little confidence, man, I can't put it down.
That's it. That's huge. And people ask me, well, how do you get better with the lure? That's really what it takes, is one of those days where you get on a bunch of fish, and you always think back to that day of the first day I threw X and caught 20 some fish that day on it, and then you keep going back to it. Even if you don't catch fish, you're like, I know it can do it. As opposed to some of these others that you've never caught a fish on, it's like, I know this one has the secret power. So yeah, that's big.
And that's kind of way I tell guys swim baits are. Um, if you get a good day where they're biting really good, it's really addicting. But if you go out like right now, it's tough, and you're fishing for 1 or 2 bites a day. A lot of people are just going to put it down. But if you ever get on a good bite, whether it's a soft paddle tail, a glide bait, or bull shad, and they're biting, you'll go, whoa, this is addicting. It's kind of like the first time I went duck hunting, they smoked them. We killed a ton of ducks. Second time I went duck hunting, didn't even see one. And that's just out the reality of fishing. And I like experimenting with new baits. And I know a lot of times I'm going to blank because I'm just playing around. I'm trying to see, does it run good? Does it feel good? Is it holding up? And if it passes that, I'm going to put that in my rotation. But Debo, we got questions, man. I'm going to lead you on to some questions. Here's a really good one. Off topic. I knew this was going to come. Could you give me a spinning reel combo for every technique until I get into baitcaster? I want to fish all the techniques, but most YouTubers only use baitcaster. So he's looking for an all-around spinning combo. What would you suggest? You're the rod and reel guru.
So I'm no good. You have more info than I do, man. If it were me starting out, I think the best all around is a 7-ish foot. If you can handle that, if you're shorter, you can drop down whatever length is comfortable for you. But I'm 6'1", so I like a 7'2" is my favorite. They're kind of hard to find, so like a 7-foot is universal. A 7-foot, medium power, fast action. And the thing with spinning rods is they're generally going to have a softer action than a bait caster. So a 7-foot medium spinning rod is going to have more bend in the tip or a softer action than a 7-foot medium casting rod. But a 7-foot medium spinning rod, you can do anything on, just like you would a bait caster. You're just going to have to go lighter. So you're not going to be able to throw like a 1/2 ounce jig on it, but you could throw a finesse jig,
Absolutely.
a little 1/4 ounce finesse jig.
And that's the kind of the purpose of a spinning rod is to get a little bit more finesse. Now, Guido Hibden back in the day, Jim Bitter, those old school guys, they did everything. But the pros now, you look at the decks on their boat, it ain't all bait casters no more. They've got 3 or 4 spinning rods. There's definitely a place. I've had to change my game. I've got spinning rods and reels now. There ain't no shame in the fairy wand to me.
Yeah, I've never been one of those guys. If it's biting, they're eating it, and I have to throw it on a spinning rod, I don't care. I'll fish a Ned rig if I'm getting fish.
Dude, I haven't mastered the Ned rig, but I know it catches. Are you a strictly Z-Man guy, or do you experiment a little bit out of the box?
Yeah, I use everything, anything that works. So I think Z-Man's nice because it's so durable, but like X Zone, I was using their stuff. I've had good luck with what is it called? Actually, the Guggen Rattling Ned 2 years ago or a year ago did well. I mean, I don't really hate on any brand. If it works, I'll try it. So
you know what?
whatever.
I'll say it, and I've said it before. I do like to make some Guggen jokes, but the Rattling Ned is a pretty decent bait, and they had a really good idea by sticking the rattle in there, and nobody else was doing that. So you know what? Kudos to them. Yeah, hey, let's just be realistic. How many people that watch your channel or possibly watch my channel that's how they got into fishing was the Guggen Squad. So I can't hate. I would like to buy some of these houses they're buying though. But all right, let's get a couple more questions here. That was a really good answer. I think I would solidly agree with you. I know like Lou's makes some great combos, and that you can buy at Academy, Walmart, places like that. What I would say, if it's entry level, don't get caught up in the hype. You don't have to have a Tatula Elite and a Steve's rod. You don't have to have a Loomis and all that. If you just want to catch some fish, Abu Garcia, Lou's, they have some great combos. And right now is a good time to find them. I think Academy's running some sales. So,
Yes.
let's see. All right, here's a good question from the Dad Bod Angler. Shout out Dad Bod. I got one of those. What
Me too. All right.
What bait has surprised you the most? I guess take it out of the package and go, man, this is really cool. Or maybe this is not what I thought. Let's go one really cool and one that was kind of like, eh.
Well, the one that I had a whole bunch of hype on and I was excited to try it. And as soon as I got it, I was disappointed because I thought it was a lot bigger, was that Lunker Hunt Spider. Right when it first came out, I was like, oh, this thing looks sweet. I think that's actually a cool idea. And as soon as I got it in the box, the Tackle Warehouse box, and opened it, the spider's only like this big, and the hooks on it are like this big.
Mm-hmm.
And, you see people throwing them, like you see the epic blow-ups on Lunker Hunt's page, and there's these monster bass grabbing it. And I'm like, in perspective, I'm like, that's probably 1.5 pounds for like I catch. This thing's small. But that one disappointed me because it's like, they market it as like a frog, but I'm like, I can do so much more on a frog. I can't throw this on a heavy power rod. I don't know. That one let me down quite a bit. What's one thing that I really like that I didn't think I was gonna? I don't know. That's a tough question. I don't know off the top
We
of my
can
head.
always
I know
we
I've
can
been
always come
seeing
back.
stuff, but all right,
I,
I'll
I'm
try to
going to
think on
show
that one.
you the one I thought, man, when I seen this in Academy, and I had seen it at ICAST. When I seen this, I bought.
Oh, go ahead. I'll
No,
go
you
after you.
go.
I know. I
You
just thought of
go.
it.
Go ahead.
For me, it was the Whopper Flopper. I was way late to the Whopper Flopper
Ah.
game because I thought that was all hype. I'm like, if I want to do that, I'll throw a buzzbait. I was never a huge buzzbait guy, but I'm like, eh. But once I finally got on that train, that's easily one of the top two, like in my rotation as a search bait.
Well, here's the one.
I think it's well worth.
I saw it at ICAST, and I was like, man, when these come out, I'm going to give it a try. And it's a live target bait. And, of course, live targets, great hype, everything. They always look good. And I haven't really had a lot of luck. But this little live target crayfish jig, of course, you're seeing on Skype. I have to use a different angle. And here it is on the
Yeah.
webcam. Man, it looks kind of very realistic. And I seen the hook back there. I thought, man. And then I fished with it. And there's like, I missed like 4 fish. And there's just not a lot of hook gap there. It's got to really press that plastic down. I mean, they look cool. And I bought 2 of them. The other one's somewhere on Lake Barkley. But I know I caught like 3 fish that just flew off. And one was a pretty good one. It will catch fish, but keeping them pinned, see, that does me no good if I can't get it to the boat or on the bank. But I'm very disappointed in that. That's not bashing the company or bashing the bait. Just didn't work out for me. Um, and I would go to say to one that surprised me, and I was late on this game. See if I can reach it here. And it's really popular right now. It's been discontinued, but the Strike King Wake Shad. So,
Oh yeah.
so long story short, you know, I'd thrown the King Shad, the swim bait version, caught a lot of fish on it. Well, I had a Wake Shad, and it just sat and sat and sat. A buddy of mine works for Strike King. We went to a lake, and he said, "I'm going to catch him on the Wake Shad." And I'm like, "Dude, I've had one for years. Show me something." He slayed him on it. And as soon as I got home, I tied one on. I went to a pond, crushed them. I'm like, I cannot believe I've sat on that thing for so long. But then it got discontinued. And a lot of people don't know it come back after a Major League Fishing episode, and then everybody bought it, and then they quit buying it again, and it got discontinued again. So it's crazy. But that was a bait that I was just like, it's just a little jointed swim bait, no big deal. And then that day, changed my mind. It's crazy. All right, we got.
I'll take.
I know I'm getting way behind on the chat. I'm trying to answer these here. All right, Debo, bead or no bead on a Texas rig?
No bead usually. Yeah, unless it's super super muddy, but usually no. I think the bigger question is pegged or not.
Yeah, I
pegged.
got that one right after that.
I think. If I can get away with it, not pegged all the time. If I'm around big trees or big branches, you're fine not pegging it. But once you start to get in the gnarly, bushy, brushy, yeah, you got to peg it. Otherwise, you're just going to get caught up and frustrated real quick.
You know what? I'm with you. I'm a no peg, no bead guy if I'm fishing shallow. Now, we do the ledge fishing offshore thing. I like a bead and unpegged, even when fishing those deep brush piles. I want that worm to just kind of trail and fall and sit there. But I've got to be really pitching some heavy cover to want to peg it. But that's a good answer. I like it. We think alike. All right. Thomas Hines asked Debo about the Cyclones.
I don't know. What are the Cyclones? There's only one Iowa team. That's the Hawkeyes in Iowa.
Oh, man. I knew that was coming. All right. Let's see. Chuck Capel, Chuck's a great guy, just got the Hog Farmer BFL rig. Your opinion, Debo, do you have a Hog Farmer rig?
I don't have a Hog Farmer rig, no. I've seen their stuff. They look sweet. I forget what the one is. They had it on a Scrounger. It looks kind of like that 10,000 fish.
Oh, I've got it right here. Spunk Shad.
I forget what that awesome.
Right here. So this bait's been out for a couple years before that 10,000 fish, which I saw and it actually looks really good, by the way. This one right here, that's the Spunk Shad.
That's it. That's it.
So
right
I
there.
kind of went to this style on my chatterbait amazing spinnerbait trailer as well. What it does on your spinnerbait kind of gives it a big, bulky bait fish profile. But they make smaller ones, whatnot. I tell you what, I owe you. I've got to send you a Secret Santa gift. Not really secret, but I'll throw some of them in there. I think you'll like those. Uh,
I'm
but
down.
Chuck, I do have a Hog Farmer BFL rig. Matter of fact, I have several Hog Farmer rigs. The quality is amazing. And really, if you're fishing tournaments, that's what that was made for. So, um, great component. Swivel's not going to open up on it. Going to last. So, all right. I'm just going to try to. I'm going to try to get some good juicy questions here. All right.
Bring it. The juicier the
Troy
better.
Roach. I've gotten a few answers on this, but want to hear from Baitman and Debo. One lure for Tennessee lakes in late January. I don't know if Debo's ever fished a Tennessee lake, but
I've never been to Tennessee Lake. I've never fished in Tennessee, so
I've never fished. I've
I
never
suck at
fished
that.
in Iowa. I've hunted there, so uh, Troy. I'll be honest. One lure late January. I'm probably gonna go with a small swim bait, like a 3.5 Kitech on an underspin. I think you can catch one on any lake in Tennessee on that. I know you can on Kentucky Lake, Chickamauga, Del Hollow. Underspin and that Kitech or whatever you want to use. That's going to catch you a fish.
That's a big one here too. Yeah, for sure.
Let's see. All right, David Thomas. This is a good one. What's your favorite crankbaits from the bank in late fall?
Hmm. Depending on water temperature, so right when you're getting into that edge of summer into early fall, kind of in that transition point, I think a square bill is still hard to beat. You're still going to have fish up shallow. You know, they're going to be going in cycles, so it's not like everything happens at once. But a shallow diving square bill, and I hear so many bank anglers say, I can't use any treble hooks because they always get hung. But remember, they make different
Mm-hmm.
sizes of square bills, different actions of square bills. So as that water gets colder, I tend to go smaller with a tighter wobble. So even if it's a regular square bill, some of them will have a different shape, you know, as opposed to like a KVD 1.5.
Right.
You can get some of those. I can't even think off the top of my head what that brand is, but they're more of a flat side,
Yes.
not as much wobble to them, with a little bit more compact size. And I'll usually bump up in line weight because the higher you go in line weight, the higher you're going to keep that lure up in a water column. So instead of like if I'm fishing 4 feet deep, if I go with like 15-pound fluoro instead of 10-pound, I can keep it up higher and just barely tick stuff. So I know that's one big problem with a lot of beginners is they'll tie on like a 6-foot
Right.
diver on 8-pound line and you're digging trenches and getting caught all the time.
Yeah.
So
So that's where I tell guys you got to remember what you're fishing, where you're fishing. Most YouTubers give excellent advice. You know, I've told, hey guys, I throw these crankbaits on 10-pound fluoro, blah blah blah. That's in a boat. If I'm off the bank, you got to realize throwing a crankbait. I actually don't throw it straight out very often. I'll throw at angles and stuff like that. So you got to remember, if you're
that's
throwing at an angle, you're actually fishing it a lot shallower. You know, you're trying to cover some shallow water. But I would agree, any sort of square bill or flat side in the fall, and if you're off the bank, you know, 6 cents 50x KVD 1.5 Lucky Craft 1.5. That's a great starting place. And there's a lot of companies that make some stuff that dives a little bit shallower, like a man's -1. I know it's almost a wake
I
bait,
was just
but
gonna say, yep, a 1 minus. Yep.
that man, and also a lipless because
Yep.
you can
100%.
control how far it falls. You can speed it up, you can slow it down, dude. When I again with my dad, I've got some great memories throwing red rattle traps off the bank. I'll never forget. I caught a there's this big metal piece of sheet metal. You could see the water was low, and I'm burning that lipless. I'm about to pull in it, and a bass darted out from under and crushed this red rattle trap. And of course, I went crazy. I was like 12 and weighed like 6.5 pounds. But the thing is, as soon as you start getting that shallow water, you've got to burn it. You know, fishing off the bank, or it hangs up and do that bass just crush it. So we just got a dono from Sean Lai, $5. Make you holler. Appreciate it, Sean. We're way behind in the chat. I gotta get caught up, guys. I'm so sorry. Uh, you know, if we didn't answer your question, I'll tell you what to do. After the video stream tonight, come back with a question in the comment section of the video, just like after a normal video upload, and I'll try to answer. Maybe Debo will go through and he'll try to answer. And make sure you subscribe to Debo's channel, guys. If you haven't, go over there. Just if you're a tackle nut, you'll like it. So, all right, Sean's question. He sent that $5 make you holler. Debo, what techniques actually work from the bank? Deep cranking, A-rigs, flipping, and pitching. I feel like it's so limited. The Baitman TV, thanks for the guess. So I guess what he's saying, what are the proven techniques for you off the bank? Obviously, we just talked about throwing a square bill, Texas rig.
Yeah. So the thing that's different about the bank is a lot of the techniques you can do exactly. You can fish the exact same techniques as you would from a boat. You just have to change it. So like you were saying, if I'm going to be cranking from the bank, I'm not going to be throwing, a 12-foot diver in 4 foot of water. I can still crank, but I might go to like a DT4 balsa that I know is not going to be digging as deep. And if I do hit something, it's going to back out and float easier. So I'm not going to get snagged as much. So I can still crank, but I've got to kind of adapt to where I'm at. And it depends on where I'm at. Like if I'm fishing big, long riprap banks, where you're walking in between fishing jetties, like with a bunch of rock, I could do that. But am I going to throw like a swim jig there? Most of the time, probably not. You can, but once you get to a different lake that has a bunch of grass, obviously you can't crank. So from the bank, I want things that are weedless. Like it was the Grassmaster jig, all-terrain Grassmaster jig. I remember here we have a big lake at Palo. It's got muskie and a whole bunch of stuff. And I remember they had drained it. That's been a few years back. So it was awesome for bank fishermen because no boats could get in. Bank guys could walk around. But I remember I was having trouble with just a regular chatterbait getting snagged. But the fishing there was so good. And I'm like, every other cast I'm getting snagged. And I remember I went to Gander and picked up some of those all-terrain Grassmaster jigs. You can really fish any swim jig you want, but that's just what it happened to be then. And that, like 3 years ago, whenever it was they drained that, was like the big swim jigs.
Yeah.
It's like I really used to reserve them for like clear water. Otherwise, I just throw a chatter, But if it's anywhere, where it's really grassy or anything like that, especially from the bank, a swim jig is always good. Otherwise, a Texas rig, I think, has got to be up there top 3 because it's weedless. You can flip it around brush, cover, grass, doesn't matter. I think for a bank angler, Texas rig is a top one to learn.
I think soft plastics kind of dominate for the most part. Swim jig's a great option, and belly weighted swim baits are really nice. Like we've said, the Kitech, the Divine swim bait, even the Scottsboro ones. They're great because it's kind of a weedless deal. Justin Royal in the house, he made a good comment on the shallow, the square bill, the Curve 55 Finesse. I don't know if you have one of those. It's kind of like the Curve deep diver, but it only dives like 1 to 3 foot. It's kind of in that great zone.
Perfect.
That's a perfect deal. So shout out to Justin Royal, great dude here. So let's see, man, we got all kinds of questions here.
He's got some great content.
Dude, he does, man.
Into unboxings. I like watching his stuff the other day.
Yeah,
I gotta try that rod. I saw he got some of those rods too. So that 6 cents ESP rod.
Justin makes a good suggestion: weightless fluke killer from the bank.
Yeah, or a weightless stick bait. Yeah, fluke. It seems like you're either a fluke or a stick bait guy. Like I personally don't throw flukes a ton. I did it more this year and at the end of last year. Like for me, ponds and smaller lakes, it was always a stick bait. You can follow up on a frog hit with a stick bait. They're great around grass, wood, weedless. But I know a lot of guys, it's like the fluke. They don't throw a stick bait. So like a this or that thing, I think.
Yeah. Dude, I've smashed on a fluke. It's one of my favorite baits. And I'm a sucker when they come out for some of them new colors in a fluke. I always get it. But the one I like, my man Justin Rule, he knows about it. It's that lavender shad. And I'll tell you, when it's in the water, it's not really purple. It's almost a red back, and they just key on it. Anything white in a fluke, and I've all learned the watermelon reds and the green pumpkin's really good around the spawn too. It gives it a little different profile. Let's see. Debo is doing great on painting cranks. Has he ever considered painting a bait caster?
I thought about it. I don't know what all you'd have to do with that. I've thought about it, but I don't even know where to start. I'm not very good at painting lures. I've just barely started doing that. I think it'd be cool, but no, I haven't gotten any of the custom baitcaster stuff.
Yeah, I bet you could make a mean one. A purple
It'd
chartreuse
be
one.
fun.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how you would clear coat it because you'd have to be real careful because of tolerances and everything on there. You'd have to be real careful when you clear coat that, otherwise you're gonna destroy the reel.
Yeah,
I
I've
don't
thought
know.
about that too. If I was going to do one, I would paint like an Ochron Arc or Corrado or something like that. That, you know what, if it messes up, no big deal. I wouldn't
Right.
do it to like a Metanium or a Dial or a high end loose or anything like that. Uh, let's see, we got some more questions in here. This is a good comment from Sean Z, great guy. He says, I gotta say, I'm glad to see YouTubers coming together and supporting each other. It's a nice change of pace. Absolutely, man. I I'm not it.
Yes.
I I'm kind of done. I don't like the what I've seen in the past where it's always about one upping and drama and stuff like that. Dude, I just want to talk baits. Debo loves to talk baits and he loves to fish, and same thing with Justin Roll and Epic Eric. We're all in this together, and there's
I agree 100%. YouTube's already hard enough to get into and grow. It's like there's so many of those click small niche, things where people should help each other. It's just like fishing,
right.
So many anglers help each other. Fishing YouTube should be no different, you know?
John Coon says,
That's my thought.
so you're going to have the Googans next. You know what? I'll put it out there and I'll say it again. If anybody on the Googan squad would like to join in with the Baitman, slide into my DMs. I have no problem with it. We'll go. Because I've got questions. Let's see here. Don G, what's your favorite finesse crankbait?
Well, actually, small pond, shallow pond, that baby 1 minus, awesome. Otherwise, just like a regular, a silent 1.5. I think that's a big thing that people forget about is crankbaits come in a rattling
Yes.
versus a silent. And a silent, like especially a square bill for me, that's what I throw most. A silent square bill is really just a way to go finesse on the exact same crankbait. It's more
Correct.
natural. It's not as intrusive, loud. If everybody around, you see the old boys out on the boat, their old Alumacraft all beat up.
Mm-hmm.
They're throwing a big, huge spinnerbait, or they're throwing a big rattling crankbait, and they'll burn that baby in the ground even if they don't catch anything. My old man gets that way. He'll fish a crankbait all day, even if he's not catching. Damn it, he's going to throw it all day. But if you want to be a little bit different, and Randy and I have tested this. It was on my birthday 2 years ago. We fished a lake that's full of yellow bass, which is like a white
Yeah, we got
bass.
those here.
Like
They call in Texas, I
yeah.
think, rural, and then they call them barfish.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep. It's one of those. I was throwing one that looked just like that, silent.
Yeah.
I don't like every other cast. I mean, it was crazy that day.
So yeah, Lucky Craft
But yeah.
made that color. They made it in a deep diver, and dude, they crush it. You can get them in a 10XD, which that's my all-time favorite deep crankbait is a 10XD. You know, for that ledge fishing, it will wear you out. I always tell guys though, it doesn't wear you out when you're catching them every cache. Uh oh.
That's out of my comfort. Yeah.
You kind of shrink on me when I have a little connection thing going on. It happened last night. I'm not freaking out about it though. Um, I will show. This is my favorite finesse crank. It's also a Lucky Craft. Is this guy right here? Not the greatest off the bank, but if you're maybe fishing some riprap or around some marinas or some deeper water, this would be a good one. This is a kill this time. This is at Lucky Craft, the Skeet Mini DR, very similar to the Crush 250 Mini from 6 Cents, but it's got more of a squirt off lip. This guy right here, and they're on eBay really expensive, I've noticed. They're like 25 to 40 bucks on eBay. Uh, but the only problem I have about this bait, it's awesome in the rocks, but you will grind out the lip on it. And also, when you're not on the rocks, it don't have the same wobble. Shout out to Chuck Capel with the $5 Make You Holler for the donation I appreciate the birthday wishes. That was yesterday, man. I don't feel 35. At times I feel like I'm like 25. But then I hang out with my kids for a couple hours and I realize I'm definitely 35. So, all right, I'm gonna try to fix your sized up video real quick. That might be on my end. Get you back in the box and let's move on to another question. Let's see. Oh, Royal's got the fights on. Yeah, let me know when RJJ knocks out Tyson. I got money on RJ. I just think he's been in the game a little bit longer. Let's see. Finn Terry says he likes the rock crawler. You throwing Spro rock crawler much?
No, no, I don't throw the. I have some. I don't throw them a lot. I'd have to throw them from the boat
Right.
because I only have the deeper. Is that a 8 to 10 or 8 to 12?
8 to 12, and then they make one that's like 6 to 8.
Yeah, I don't have any of those. I've got the 8 to 12s. I've thrown them a little bit, but deep cranking is not my deal. I have to be out on the boat with my old man. I'm definitely going to steal the boat more this year. I've got a John boat
Yeah.
that I fish from a lot. I don't have any electronics or anything, so I can't really go like ledge fishing or trying to find humps or anything in the
Sure you
middle.
can. Just John Cox it and drag a Carolina rig around.
I could, yeah, I could just troll till I hit
Yeah.
some.
I've seen her. I actually saw. It's funny you said that. Have you seen Ike and Ellie's new John Boat 10 rig? He posted up on Instagram.
It did, yeah. That thing was pretty sweet.
Now, see that I could get into having a little 12-footer to put in some small power plant lakes and just go fish wherever. I like that, but there is some. I'll do since I've been doing it for back again fishing off the bank. There's something about fishing off the bank I really do enjoy.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about it. I love it. I don't know. It's just like, you have to hike to these places. It's a lot of work. It's rewarding. You're always at a disadvantage. So it's not, a boat. You can get anywhere. You can go to the whole lake. And it's just rewarding when you finally find some.
All right, I'll answer. We'll answer a couple more questions, man. I'm gonna try to combine two questions into one here. Uh, One of them's from Carl Acorn, great guy, always in the stream. Debo, what are your two favorite crankbait setups? And then next guy, Dave R, says, what is your favorite rod you own and why? So your two favorite crankbait rods and then your favorite rod overall.
I have an old Daiwa Tatula. I want to say it's actually a medium light. It doesn't feel like a medium light, but that's probably my all-time favorite crankbait rod. Daiwa Tatula. I want to say it's a 7'2". I don't have it over here. It's over there.
Is it the black?
I want to say it's
The old black
the
model?
black. Yep. Black
Yeah, dude, that
sport.
rod is really, really good.
Otherwise, as far as a budget, I've been using that crankbait rod from Lose. It's been pretty solid for the money. And then I have actually a Tatula XT. I got those on sale for like $70. I think those are regularly $100 rod. But if you're looking for a budget option and can get those on sale, that XT, I don't ever hear anybody talk about them, but I think those are underrated.
I have one. It's a flipping stick, and I didn't have a jig rod out the day I used it, and the video's on my channel somewhere. It was actually kind of winter, and my buddy was killing them on a Ned rig with a pack of crawl, and a shaky head with a pack of crawl, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna just throw a jig, and this 7.6 XT, it's kind of heavy, but dude, it was sensitive, and once you get a reel on there. But I like the Tatula XT glass rods. Dude, Wiggle Wharton, Rock Crawler, that's one of the best rods I've ever found in throwing little flat side crankbaits. And they're not expensive. You can probably find used ones for like $50.
Yeah, get them on sale now. I mean, you can get them $70, $80. They're a steal. My favorite rod of all time? I don't know, man. That's hard to pick. That's like asking my favorite potato chip color. Like all. Did I say color? Wait. What the hell am I talking about? Favorite potato chip.
My daughter eats food based on the color, so I got you.
Oh, you know what I meant. Yeah, I don't know. A 7'2" medium heavy. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I would tend to lean to say a 7.2 or 7.3. 7.1 to 7.2 medium heavy, fast action. I can do so many things with that rod. Spinnerbait,
Yep.
light Texas rigs. You can finesse jig, throw topwater. You can throw swim baits on that. Dude, I've caught a lot of fish on a 7-1 medium heavy with the swim bait because I like how they load up. So,
Yep.
all right, here's a question, Matt R. Any experience with a Johnson spoon with a trailer? That's old school.
Yeah, that is old school. No, I don't throw spoons really that often. The only one I had or that I used to consistently fish was this little weedless spoon,
Mm-hmm.
just because it was weedless. I forget who it is. It's the yellow packaging. They're old school lures. God, I can't remember who made those. They're kind of inexpensive. Like you look at the packaging and they look like
Yeah,
kind of
I know what you're
cheap.
talking about. I don't
I
think.
think like pike guys will use the bigger ones for pike, like when they're fishing around grass. I had a small one that worked
Okay.
well, and I only threw it really because it was weedless. It had like a wire weed guard on it, and I remember I caught a bunch of fish on that when I was younger. Um, fishing little ponds and stuff. But otherwise, like big spoons, deep spoon fishing, nah.
Yeah,
It's
I'll
not.
be honest. If I'm a bank angler, that is one bait I'm probably going to stay away from. Is a spoon. They do have. They already got a tendency to get hung in a boat. They're going to get hung off the bank. If you're fishing out in a canal or maybe over a dam or something where you can be real vertical,
Jigging it, yeah.
jigging it, different story. But if you're casting off the bank, um, help you. You're going to get hung. So.
Yeah.
I see some guys talking about ordering from Tackle Warehouse, which I'm going to. Got some stuff loaded up. Their orders are delayed and all that. I'm not affiliated with Tackle Warehouse, but I've been in the bait business before. Anytime there's a Black Friday sale, there's so many orders coming through, and
Yeah.
uh, it's going to get delayed a little bit. Because what's going to happen? There's going to be some stuff that's back ordered. Man, my cart, I get to check out and stuff was gone and whatnot. So I've really had to change my strategy. I'll just wait till Christmas. So guys, be patient with them. I've never had an issue with TW, and if I did, at one time they sent me the wrong bait. They just said keep it and we'll send you another one. I said okay. So all right.
Yeah. I've had a couple rods that got broke through. I'm not affiliated with them or anything. They've never commented on my. They probably don't even know I exist. I probably could own half their company in the amount that I've spent. But like you're saying, if they make it right, I've had a couple rods that came. They're like, oh, no problem. Here's what you need to do, and they already come with a shipping label. I just had some questions and stuff, and they were nice. But that's what's really kept my
All
business
right.
with them.
Noah Mock asked a good question. What is your favorite lure of all time?
Spinnerbait,
Spinnerbait.
spinnerbait, spinnerbait for sure. Growing up, I could chuck and wind a spinnerbait all day and never get tired because, like we were talking about earlier, getting confidence in a lure, you start to catch multiple
Mm-hmm.
fish. I remember that was the first lure that I started throwing with my old man on the boat and could consistently catch fish and started figuring out, okay, if I start throwing this next to trees, for some reason I get
Mm-hmm.
bites. What's going on? You start to learn, the lure and where it works, where it doesn't work. But even on the days where you're not catching fish, I would rather throw something that I was confident in and comfortable that I knew could catch fish. I've done it before, as opposed to picking up like a big worm like my old man was doing. I wasn't confident in it. I'd rather just keep chucking and winding the
Speaking of
spinnerbait.
spinnerbait, I got one I got to show you here. I know you got the accent. I suggested to you on Instagram.
I did. That thing is sweet. Yeah, I got to use it for a little bit. I only had
Now
two,
I'm going to show you the real
but
accent. The ones you picked up had different blades. The one I'm gonna get one out here. Um, the one I always throw is a little bit different.
I'm going to grab one of my old gimmicky spinnerbaits that I used to
Please go
love. I'll
ahead.
be right back.
Guys, make sure you smash that like button if you're enjoying me and Debo talk baits and answer questions. Absolute super nice guy, and I'm really glad I got him on the stream. Let's get this guy right here. You fish the spinnerbait when you've got multiple line tags still hanging on it. Let's see. I'll try to answer a few questions real quick while Debo's gone. I've never fished blade baits. Is a silver buddy anything special or just another blade bait? Silver buddy's great. It's not real expensive. Most blade baits are pretty much blade baits. However, Troy, I got a huge package in from Ledge Hog we'll see this week. Question for Baitman: Shimano Zodius new model or the new ESP from 6 Cents? They're both modeled after the Poison Ardena. Which one would you buy? Honestly, I think I'd buy the 6 Cents because I can get it a lot cheaper than the Zodius with that 20% discount right now. But, you know, put a gun to my head. I've got a Zodius and an ESP rod. I'm feeling pretty confident with either one. Just go with your gut. Oh, we got a new subscriber, Michael Pruitt. Hooked and subscribed. Thanks, Michael. If you're new to the stream, you're not a subscriber on the channel, hit the button for me. Really enjoying the stream tonight. Show us that spinnerbait. I'll show you this one right here. So this is the original Accent. This is the color I designed for him, Purple Crush. But you can only get it on the Accent website. Actually saw, yeah. So I saw Jacob Wheeler actually throwing this one in MLF, and Brett that owns Accent messaged me and said, "Dude, Wheeler was throwing your color." I was like, "I hope he wins on it. I need a shout out." And he just laughed. But the original Accent blades, they're fluted. If you notice here at the bottom, it's got those little ridges. So when these first come around Kentucky Lake in late 2000s, we'd never seen a spinnerbait that had those blades. And I was working at a tackle shop, and the guy that owned it won a big tournament, a $20,000 tournament on that Accent spinnerbait, and it just blew up. And it's kind of never got a bunch of national notice until Jacob Wheeler started, you know, winning. And you can't catch 10 fish on this. They're a little bit more durable than a War Eagle, but man, they run really true, and they put good components. And man, now this was a 3/8, but like the ones you got, they got the good, sharp, long chain hook on it. That's one thing I look for in a spinnerbait.
So for me, growing up, my favorite was Mans. Everything for me was Mans. Hank Parker. Hank Parker was Mans. He was my dude. Him and Bill Dance growing up. But the thing I always liked about theirs is that little deal here on the spinnerbait was closed. But that's an old school one. Now, talk old school. That was a gimmick that I actually caught on, was the Mans So it's a three-piece blade together with some little rings. The old Mans undulator. I had a few of these.
There's a lot of guys that like that.
I always thought that
Epic Eric was talking about that.
That's funny. Yeah, Mans.
Dude, those old man spinnerbaits go for big money on eBay. Like they've brought it back, and I don't know if it's any better or worse, but the old ones just go for, you know, $20, $25 a spinnerbait.
I just got some from Tackle Warehouse, and it looks like it's still the same packaging from 1984.
Right. All right, here you go, Debo. What is your favorite topwater lure?
I mean, it's going to depend on the condition, but if I'm going to throw only one, it's going to be a frog for sure, hands down. I'd throw a frog all day until I died if it was the only thing I could pick.
We can go through my frog box here in a second if you want.
Oh man, I've already seen pictures. Frogs, yeah, I could frog all.
I just wish we had more grass and stuff like that here on Kentucky Lake. Even from doing it from the bank, Barkley's actually a better frog lake for us because there's more buckbrush and willow trees and stuff like that. But old Lake X gets some grass in it every now and then. But I love throwing a frog. I'm not the world's best at it, so I better have one that can walk pretty easy. Let's see. All right, Debo, what kind of trailer do you run with a spinnerbait, or do you run a trailer? Some guys don't.
It depends. So I'm a big believer in. There's some of those spinnerbaits, like I forget what it is, the tournament something. Strike King is one, for example, that has the actual skirt that comes out a little bit longer, so it looks like a trailer, and it's multi layered. So it'll have part of the skirt that goes to here, and then extra skirt that goes out to the back. And I try to run a trailer hook when I can. I'm a believer in a trailer hook, but with those spinners that have like the multi-layered skirt, when you pop that, I'm kind of I think a minority in this, but when I'm running a spinnerbait shallow, I'll pop it. And when you pop it, it makes that skirt flare, and that back almost looks like a tail. So you've got like the pulsating here and the back that's like kicking. So you can make that skirt look like a trailer. Otherwise, the old school twin tail spinnerbait trailer. I like stuff that's low key or like a real small swim bait.
Right.
You get something that's too big, it's going to counteract the blades, and they don't
Yeah.
work.
I actually have gone to, like, I've got one up here. This is an old school Oldham's. This was really made for brush pile fishing. It's basically, I took the skirt off, put the kayak on there, you know, one blade. But if I'm throwing something small like that accent I just had, I actually prefer a pretty small swim bait or trailer on there. I don't like to get too cute because you're right. That swim bait will try to take over the power of the spinnerbait. You'll feel it too. You'll feel the drag. That's a great tip too. If you watch the old videos of KVD fishing spinnerbait, he never just reels it. He's always twitching his rod tip. Or when I fish at night, you know, we're fishing short arm spinnerbaits for smallmouth. You never reel. Matter of fact, I work it like a rattle trap. Throw it out there, let it hit the bottom, reel it, and pop it up, let it fall, pop it, let it fall. And a lot of times, as soon as it falls, dude, they smash.
That's something I wish I could do more of. I don't get to do straight smallmouth fishing enough.
Dude, I love catching them smallmouth. Let's see here. Tackle Box Mike wants to know, Mr. Twister, using any Mr. Twister stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, got tons of Mr. Twister stuff. I mean, a regular twister tail for a beginner, especially, man, a twister tail will catch you anything. You go off like those little roller dam spots, those little spillways, you can catch hybrids, crappie, bass. I mean, when you're just starting out, throw it and wind it.
I'll be honest, they've been around for a long, long time. The old lizards, the twister lizards, it's got the spots on the back of them. The old school guys swear by the black with the yellow spots. That's the deal in the spawn.
Like a salamander.
And they got some really good color trick worms too. So if you like throwing a shaky head, you might get on a TW, and those tricolored trick worms are really, really good looking. So, all right, we're gonna keep on going with the questions, man. Unless you got something you just want to put out there, you talk all you want to. I don't care. Chris Jones, live stream is great. Just love talking gear, dude. We all love talking gear. Let's see here. Someone said, what reel did you get? Did you get a new reel? Or were they talking to somebody in the chat?
Like for Black Friday type stuff? Yeah, I might have picked up a couple.
Might have. All right, here's one. What do you think about casting rods? Have you ever used a casting rod?
I haven't. That is one that's been on the list. I've asked a few people about them. My guy Yak and TN, he's a huge caching guy. And I've been looking at those. I've never used one, but I just saw they released the new black
Icon
and silver,
series.
Whatever that is. I think, it's like the James Watson was putting those out, was promoting those pretty heavy. They look sweet. I want to try one. They've got those like Kevlar.
Yeah, they got a different handle. I remember when they
grip.
first came out, they're real light, had that Kevlar style handle. They had a little bit of breakage issue. And this is a topic we talked about earlier before the stream. Rods are going to break. It's really how you're treated as a customer from the company. And they had great customer service, and you know, I was a dealer selling them, and that made me want to keep carrying them because I knew they'd take care of me. So
I had the same experience with Powell rods. I know they were that's been maybe, I want to say 4 years ago. There was people talking about Powell rods breaking at the tip and stuff, like if you're trying to quote unquote high stick it. But I had, it was Inferno, an old Inferno cranking stick that I never had any issues with. And I can't remember what brand or what line it was that I bought at the time. It was like equivalent to the Inferno, but I bought one of those and it broke. And I'm like, man, this is not right. And I got one from my old man too. And I was testing his before I gave it to him and it broke. And I'm like, this has to be the same batch. So I actually talked to Powell. I got Keith's email and he ended up sending me a handful of these for free at the time. So I thought it was amazing. It was the old Powell Max
good rods.
3Ds. And he's like, hey, yeah. And I was like, man, this is crazy because I'm a relationship manager. So I run operations for an insurance company. And so for us, we see the craziest stuff, you know, when we're working with other companies, the craziest stuff that can go wrong, any of that type of stuff, you know, between our companies selling things, we want to make it right. And I'm like, you know, I'm in this sort of business, and I wrote a long email to try and help him, saying, hey, if you can go back to the batch, here's the serial numbers. And he's like, I appreciate that a ton. And we got to talking. So Powell is somebody that I will never ever talk bad about,
Absolutely.
because a company taking care of you, he
I
went
think
above and
in
beyond.
and off the bait subject, that's something I see a lot in social media now, and I've gotten better to not responding to some of it, but people are really easy to throw a company or a product or something under the bus really quickly. And whether it's I see guys all the time, I'm not buying 6 cents, or I'm not ever buying Rappel, or I'm not buying whatever hard bait company, the lip broke. I mean, you gotta understand, mass produced baits, there's gonna be a batch that goes through quality. It just isn't the same. And I've seen every crankbait from a Spro to a 6 cents to a Lucky Craft to JDM stuff break a lip. It's going to happen. It could be on a cast, it could be off rocks, could just caught too many fish on it. So, but when you're treated really good by a company, you know, I have a good relationship with Byron at Missile Baits. He knows the deal. Like I said, I've called Cashin, Loomis, all these. They treat you right. It makes you want to buy more stuff from them.
100%. Like we were talking about earlier, you can catch more bees with honey than you can with, well,
Yeah,
garbage.
absolutely. So, trick for you guys: if you ever issue with your baits, your rods, or reels, always call the company. Be really nice, and you're going to get pretty far. But if they tell you, "Screw you, we don't care, we just want your money," I get it then. But for the most part, they won't be doing that. So, woo. All right, had to get that one off my chest. And guys say we got a $3 make you holler from Casual Bass Guy. Said here's so Debo can buy more pegboard. I'm probably gonna take that $3 and buy him a new bait. That's what's gonna happen. So, Caleb Moore,
You don't like my pet?
dude. So I had pegboard in my shed, and I got it from a dollar store or something. They went out of business and laid it on the sidewalk. It said free, and I got 2 sheets of it. And then I moved the stuff into the bait room, and the dude already had peg wall in here, the previous owner. So I went, oh, I don't need that. This is built in. Yeah.
No.
All right, let's see here. All right, Caleb Morgan, Baitman, and Debo. Do you ever get to fish special places? If so, what lake stood out memory-wise? Got a special place you've been fishing?
No, I don't get to travel around a lot. You know, pretty much Iowa's, with me having a full-time job and a family and stuff, I don't really have the luxury of taking big trips. And like we don't have a bunch of tournament caliber lakes, so it's not like I can drive 2 hours and get to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Chickamauga or, you know, Okeechobee or Lake Fork or anything. Um, no, I mean, I love anytime I can get a fish. Like I tell people, going out and fishing is the true blessing. Actually catching is
Yeah.
just a added
Embrace the
bonus.
dink,
So
baby.
anytime I can get out. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, and I know
Yes.
I know how it
Hey,
is, man. 2 kids, work 50 something hours a week. Just get out there, even if it's no bites. At least I'm out there. Now I tell you what, I took Baitman Jr. out with me last Sunday. We had a blast. Never got a bite. He was a trooper. It was windy. And watching him cast was amazing. I was pumped. Well, I'll get that uploaded Monday morning. But yeah, dude, embrace the dink. A bite is a bite. You're not gonna catch 10 pounders every cast. Let's see here. Man, think the info you bring here is invaluable for a blue collar guy like myself. Appreciate that, John. I mean, that's kind of the deal, man. Me and Debo, we got full time jobs. We're your normal guys. We just like to talk, tackle, and catch a few fish. Let's see. Let's
well
see
said.
here. All right,
Sure.
Kyle Pillars, what's your thoughts on the Spook topwater lure?
Love it. That was the first walking bait. This Super Spook Junior was the first walking bait in. I actually have one of them. I had two of them. I lost one. I forget what color this is, but this was my go-to color forever. My old man taught me to walk it on this. Whatever that
Frog,
color
I
is.
believe.
Oh, Spook Puppy. Sorry, not the Spook Junior. That's
Zara
what I have over
puppy.
there. The puppy, the
Yeah.
little one. Yeah, the little guy was what I learned to walk on, and then moving up to the junior is my favorite, just like
Oh
as a
yeah.
all
Bone
around.
Spook Junior,
Um,
nasty. Love it.
Yep.
You know, it's actually harder to walk the puppy than it is any other uh, of those.
And it is. It is. You have to throw it on light tackle, real light line. Otherwise, yeah, to get that baby to cut back and forth. But that's what I learned on that. And for me growing up, that and a baby bass colored
Oh
Pop
yeah,
R. You couldn't beat those two in my arsenal.
yeah, man. This just brings back lots of memories. That's why I like these old baits. And oh, we got another Spencer Whitney, $2. Mickey Holler, no haters in this stream. That's awesome. Let's see. I gotta get caught back up on questions. If I missed you again, make sure you comment after we get done streaming on YouTube. We'll go back and answer it somehow. It'll be easy. Let's see. Debo, I got a float tube for you to use if you're ever here in Kansas. Same for you, Baitman. We're not going to share a float tube, but you might have to get two of them if you ever decide to do that. All right, here's one you may have some. Have you tried the Ozark Trail? That's Walmart brand paddle tail swim bait.
I haven't. Somebody just sent me pictures of those. I have an old Ozark Trail crankbait actually that has been pretty solid. There's an old red one that I used a couple of years back. You'd see it in a video that saved the day. It was just a little cheap Ozark Trail. Otherwise, I haven't really used much of their stuff. But somebody sent me a picture of their paddle tails. They look like all the regular paddle tails. You know, I think it's just a kind of a generic mold that's something that a lot of people don't understand. Is a lot of the companies, you know, they'll take something on. They have a lot of those generic molds that they haven't patented or anything, and really could sell them. So, you know, I'm sure it's the same as, you know, whatever the knockoff Kitech, you know, type mold is. I'm sure they work well. I've never
You
used
know,
them.
I'll be honest. I'm a big fan of the Ozark Trail tumblers. They work just as good as the Yetis to me. And so, dude, their Whopper Plopper's not bad. I'm going to be honest with you. The Ozark Trail Plopper's not bad. Um,
Does it have a hard tail or a soft tail?
I've just seen it in the package. I didn't pull it out, but it didn't look bad in the package. I personally like
That was
hard.
my only.
I like the Chapo. The tail's harder on it.
The tail makes it have a distinctly different sound and a different plop to it. But I've cracked two of them, and that was my main concern when I first got them, and had never used it. Was how's this going to hold up with the hard tail because it's so thin. But I haven't actually broke them all the way, but I've cracked two out of the three that I have. Fish catchers.
Yeah, it's weird like that. Sometimes the best fishing catching baits aren't exactly the most durable. Like, I'll be honest, balsa crankbaits catch a lot of fish, but dude, you're gonna break several of them. Swim baits, notorious. 1 to 2 fish, they're done for. So,
yeah.
So actually, I'll be honest. I think Gary Yamamoto knew what he was doing. Once he figured out he catch fish, he said, "You know what? I've got the perfect bait. I gotta get the formula right." So guys go through a pack every time
they're catch one, then they gotta buy another
job
bag.
security. Let's see. Let's get. Hey, I saw a couple good questions I skipped over here, real quick. These were from people new in the chat I'd never seen before, so I wanted to make sure we got this. All right, this is from Brian Kolzak. Debo, how do you pick a bladed jig color, and what's your favorite female wrestler?
Okay, well, funny fact, I used to be huge into
Dude,
wrestling
so am I, buddy.
So
don't feel embarrassed for it.
Miss Elizabeth,
oh, yeah.
hands down. Back in the day, yeah, wrestling was awesome. How do you pick a bladed jig color? So for me, it's going to be like any other skirted lure. If it's a shad lake, I'll go with like a white variant. Always works well. Around here, a lot of the small lakes, I fish a lot of, 400 to 1,000 acre, little small lakes. Bluegill are the main forage a lot of the time. So some sort of bluegill, or especially post-spawn, tie on bluegill, you're going to have that much more luck because those bass are smashing those bluegill, getting revenge, I guess you could say, on the bluegill for pestering them.
That's a true story. So, that's what I've always been told from biologists, that a lot of that is, you've messed with me for so long, now I'm going to come get back at you.
Yeah, you're just up there sitting. It's an easy meal. And then as it gets dirtier, The cloudier the water, the muddier the water, I'm going to go to a solid color like a black or a black and blue to create that silhouette.
I would agree with that. Dirtier water, I like the darker colors. As the water clears up, I'm going to go in the spring. I got to have some red in there or just a green pumpkin. Man, green pumpkin catches them. But I'm with you. Since it's post-spawn, I got to have something with some purple, some gill kind of flavoring in there. And you just mix your trailer up. I really think they're looking at the trailer for a little action, not exactly the color. I personally like them contrasting a little bit. That was a good question. Now we got to get caught up with the chat. So I'm just kind of picking a few. Again, guys, I'm sorry. Colin J in the stream, a man called Harkin, he said wrestling is still awesome. Man, I don't know, man. I was old school WCW, Sting from the rafters. That was the deal. Every Monday Night Nitro, I'd turn over there. I just want to, where's he at? Where's he at? Come down with the
100%.
baseball bat.
Coming
baby.
down with the bat. There it is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. WCW,
that might have to
NWO.
be it. That might be it. We might have to have a text messaging GIF war or something. Because, dude, so many good memories. Let's see. Oh, you said Miss Elizabeth. Great one, but I'm not going to lie. I saw it in the chat. When Mark Mira first came out with Sable, whew, that changed me. That changed me when I was young. I said, what is going on here? All right, let's see. All right, we gotta get back on the baits. Dude, I could go for hours on wrestling. So the Baitman TV, Debo, when do you like working in the chartreuse and bright colors instead of dark ones? It's all about watercolor to me.
You know, that's kind of tough. Yeah, watercolor. Yep. Anytime you get like that stained, dirtyish, like kind of green tint to it, where it's kind of hard to explain, but it's not like the dirty can't see, but you get that kind of weird greenish. And then there's also places where specifically chartreuse does really well. Like on my local lake, white and chartreuse for whatever reason, and it's not like a weird color. I think it's just a confidence thing. Could I go through and throw like a flat white and catch just as many? Maybe. But I think anytime you get that kind of weird, I don't know how to explain it, that weird kind of almost greenish tinted water seems to do really well. But otherwise, I think a lot of it's a spinnerbait. You're looking for that reaction anyway. So you're going by a rock pile or a tree stump or whatever. And whether that's got half chartreuse in it versus all white, is it going to make that big of a difference?
Right. Michael Mann, because he says he calls that pickle juice color water.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Not that green and yellow, but
I know what you're talking about though. So this comes from Randy McLean. I think is that the infamous Randizzle? He says, "Ed Baitman Sting. Oh my God, we're out of time. We gotta go." That always killed me. That would be hilarious to put at the end of the video. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking. Oh my God, it's Sting. We gotta go. And just bodies are hitting the floor. Yeah. Oh, man, this is good memories. All right, hey, Rich17 says, Debo, what is your local lake? If you want to disclose
that. Well, I grew up. See, that's kind of tough because we didn't have any big, huge, like I said, trophy lakes or anything like that. So the Mississippi, I guess, was probably where I remember going. Was it the Mississippi or was it a local river? Backwaters of the rivers seem to be always memories for me. Otherwise, I grew up on a little lake that was maybe 300 acres, and that was my home local lake. Where I go now, we've got a few of them around. Lake McBride is a huge one. Palo, which is Pleasant Creek. Otherwise, I mean, we don't have any real big. The reservoir, Coralville Reservoir, but otherwise we don't have any big like lakes that anybody would know about. I mean, that's why you don't see Iowa on the Bassmaster Elites.
That's funny. Let's see. All right, here's a couple questions here. I've seen 2 questions about Rapala. So someone asked thoughts on, or do you use a Rapala fat wrap, and then thoughts on the new Rapala V-Blade. So I'll tell you, fat wrap, probably not my favorite Rapala crankbait. I'm more of a DT. I like the Risto wraps. Discontinued, bless their heart. And I have seen that new V blade. It looks very nice. It's like a hybrid lipless blade bait. It reminds me I need to put a couple in my TW cart. Oh, and Jim Collins just subscribed. Thank you, Jim, for doing that.
I agree. DTs. Randy, actually, who was just on, he's a huge DT guy. DTs from Rapala were my big thing. Actually, Normans and Bombers is probably what I threw most. I didn't really get into the Rapala stuff. They were always too expensive. It seemed like you could always find Normans and Bomber stuff like on sale, because whenever I was younger, I'd get to go with my old man and pick out a couple lures, we go places. So it seemed like I had mostly, I want to say mostly those, really.
Dude, I was always a big Norman fan. Deep little ends, baby ends. I still fish them. The DD22 was the first deep crankbait I really threw that. Pose was the one I threw first. Then it was the DD22. Like, whoa, plastic bait. Here's let's get on a little bit on this. Here we go. Simon had a birthday yesterday with me. Appreciate it. Happy birthday, Simon. His question: Debo, when did you start your YouTube channel?
I started it, but I wasn't really huge into it. Like 2017, but I was only doing like a video every few weeks. Like it wasn't anything serious. Into 2018, I started taking it more serious, like in the summer. But the funny thing is I remember within 2 years, like when I started getting more into it, in 2018, I was like, if I can get like 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers in a couple years, like I'm gonna be big time in it. And it blew up way past that pretty quick. So I'm
Yeah,
honored
dude.
and
I
blown
think
away
when
that
I
my
first
channel's.
started, I messaged you on Instagram or just something random like, "Hey man, I love the channel," blah blah blah, or I commented like, "Dude, love your stuff, man." It might have even been on a YouTube video. I was like, "Dude, I gotta leave this dude a comment. I appreciate it." And I think you're only like 40,000 or something. And dude, the last 6 months you've like blown up, but you do put some good work in and great content. I mean, it's safe to say you're rewarded for quality on YouTube. And dude, you're a bait nut. There's a lot of bait nuts out there. They just watch unboxings. I swear, there's people that just watch unboxings and they. So, speaking of Coco the Beast, great name. I like that. What's a must buy from Tackle Warehouse Black Friday deal?
What are we talking? Lure, gear? Gosh, that's hard. Spin the wheel and get something. There's tons of good stuff out there now. I'm like you. I love to try stuff, and the crappy part is I don't have enough time to. I usually try stuff, at least a couple times, but I wish I had more time to go out and really try stuff, because there's some of them that I'll try a couple times, and it's hard being in the whole YouTube roller coaster ride of I want to go out and try stuff and skunk, but it's like this might be the only day I have to go fishing this week, so I might try a lure for a couple hours, and then I'm switching over to stuff that I'm more confident in, or stuff that I think I can get a pattern on and catch stuff to try to get a video.
Dude.
Because I can't go out every day, so it's hard. It's tough.
So I'm going to try this thing. I filmed a 1 hour one bait challenge. I'm not trying to be one rod one reel, but my deal is, so I get all this crazy new stuff. I'm just going to go out there for an hour off the bank at a pond or wherever, just to get an hour in. Did I catch them? Did I not? But overall, really giving an on the water first impressions review of a new baiter. It could be an old bait to educate people. Might do some old school challenges, but dude, this is a terrible time to do it right here in winter. So I may be fishing at the river, but
yeah, I'm going to be fishing through a little hole in the ice soon. So
all right, this is a good question from Caleb Morgan. Great guy. Caleb's in the stream a lot. What outside sources do you use to research baits, tackle tour, etc.? Honestly, I'll get on YouTube's a big one.
Yeah, I agree. YouTube. Yeah, I think there's another one, not Wired to Fish. They usually do a pretty good, thorough, non-biased, from the way I read it anyway. I don't know any of those guys over there, but lots of pictures, and they go in depth on stuff.
Wired to Fish is good.
Yeah, yep, they're a big one that I notice comes up. Yeah, like you said, YouTube is huge. And I always tell people to get different points of view. Like it seems so often on YouTube, it's people want to only support like a certain thing. Like I'm only a fan of this line on. I tell people to go, whether you like me or not, check out my stuff, check out this person, whether you like them or not, because you're going to get a different perspective. So they might tell you something that, you never would have thought of. You can never get too much information on something, even if it's bad information. People think that sounds
No,
crazy, but even if it's bad information, it gives you a different perspective to look at.
Jim Kelly hooked and subscribed. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. If you're just joining in with us, make sure you smash the like button. For Debo over here, just bringing the heat tonight. I gotta ask you, Debo, you think he will come on again?
I'm down.
All right, he's down. So I think around Christmas be a good time on some more of them sales, depending on family's the big one. We've just had a big break, but we're not going away. As long as you want to keep going for a little bit, we'll keep on streaming unless you got other plans.
I'm down. Like you, I'm.
All right, man. Nerd. Dude, I appreciate it. You coming on, man. Here's a good one. A lot of people are mentioning tactical bassing. I've met them. I fished with them. Tactical bassing's great, but I will say, and I don't mean this bad, tactical bassing's kind of advanced. You know what I mean? I love it when Tim does bank fishing videos, but they are advanced.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I get that feedback a lot of people will say, I like watching your stuff. It's more relatable than tactical bassing. And I tell them the exact same thing I just said. Watch their stuff. Those guys know their stuff. Those guys are clearly pros. They can go anywhere and catch stuff. And that's the one thing I tell people is you have to differentiate that and look at it from a different perspective, because they're going to tell you stuff that may pertain to a boat. But like we were talking about earlier, you can take so many of those things and tailor it to bank fishing and have success. You might just have to go a little tighter or, a little different, technique with it. But oh yeah, those guys, I'm sure they have no idea I even exist, but they're a wealth of information. Any of those type of, Fluke Master, like these people or not, watch their stuff. It's going to give you, knowledge is power. It's going to give you a different look on it.
A lot of guys, I've heard this before. Well, all those tactical bassing guys, they just throw swim baits all the time. I'm going to tell you, glide baits, bull shad, stuff like that fish high in the water column, excellent bank fishing baits. There's photos all over Instagram with dudes catching giants off the bank on swim baits.
I know there is. I can't figure it out to save my life.
Yeah, me.
Glide baits. I
keep buying them, and I'll catch a few here and there. When I get a bite, it's a big one. But rats, huge. Guys love night fishing with rats and stuff like that. So we'll get back to some questions. Let's see. Someone asked favorite YouTube channels, but we kind of just answered that a little bit. Let's see. Let's see. A lot of people just commented at once, so I've got to get here. So I seen a. Do you use the Fish Brain app? I don't. I'm not a big fishing app guy. I use the Angler app a little bit.
Yeah, I did. I used it for a little bit, but most of it's generally going to be spots you already know. And if people are catching stuff at some crazy secret place, they're not going to tell you anyway.
Exactly.
You get on apps, do your own research. To me, you can do a lot better that way. Here in Iowa, we have a big fishing atlas. My old man still got one from, I don't know, probably 1980. But believe it or not, they actually used to make books on lakes. It's crazy as it sounds, but just do your own research, especially now with Google Maps. I mean, that's cheating.
Yeah, we've got this area of. It's called the Land Between the Lakes. It's between Barkley and Kentucky Lake. It's huge. And I've found small 2-3 acre ponds on Google Maps. I never knew it was out there. And I went to one not long ago. Dude, third cast caught a 3-pounder. It ain't big. It's like a cow pond. I fished there for an hour. That's all I caught. But I'm thinking, man, there's probably more than one in there. But never would have found it without Google Maps. It's a big land. It's public. I had to walk to get there. So, Alex DeCosta, I just found out because my favorite color, 6 cents, Jank Juice. I love the Jank Juice, baby. That's the color I designed with Casey's 6 cents. And not gonna lie, it's just basically a play off of old Lucky Craft color, the MS Crank. And MS Crack, and it's Table Rock Crack or whatever. And man, it's a lot of people like it, so it makes me proud when people like that. I've got to run to the bathroom real quick. I'll float you a question here. Uh, Not a lure question, but either of you ever fished as a co-angler? Okay, I have. It sucked, but let's see here. Here you go, here you go, Debo.
Man,
What brand of spinnerbait is that behind you on the wall, and does it work well? I'll be right back.
Nichols. Oh yeah, the pulsator. Nichols, truly one of my favorite spinner baits. They're simple. They don't have a keeper on them. I know that's kind of a deal breaker for some people. Nichols, the pulsators work great, and they come in a bunch of different blades. Just this year, I've really been experimenting more with different blade combinations because growing up, I literally threw like a big willow and a small Colorado most of the time. This is actually one of two of my old spinnerbait boxes from when I was a kid. I've still got a couple of these left, but I mean, most of these you're going to see in here are really just a simple willow and a small Colorado. Those were what I threw growing up 99% of the time. You can see a lot of these are all beat up. That one's like a little almost Colorado, Indiana type hybrid, but that's a little small finesse spinnerbait. That's another thing too, is I hear a lot of guys say, I've never caught a fish on a spinnerbait. And a lot of these people they'll send me pictures on Instagram are these big honking spinnerbaits with two big, huge willow blades on it. And if you've ever fished a big spinnerbait like that, they have a huge thump, a lot of vibration, a lot of movement, and they're almost hard to crank through the water. They're so big. There's so much resistance when you bring them through. And there's a time and a place for those type of large spinnerbaits, or like a real big Colorado blade in muddy water, where you want a lot of vibration, you want a lot of commotion, because if bass can't see, they're going to use that lateral line. But like in ponds and stuff growing up, I think there's like a Booyah Pond Magic is another one. But any sort of real small, like you look at this compared to the pulsator, pulsator is kind of a little bit smaller, more finesse spinnerbait too. But any of these real small, compact type spinnerbaits are great in smaller lakes or smaller ponds where there's not a ton of huge forage. It's not some California lake where guys are throwing 12-inch glide baits with a curly tail on the end and all this and that. Just downsizing to a smaller profile type spinnerbait is huge.
I think our moderator Hellabass did really well there on Pickwick on a War Eagle spinnerbait. I know you're a fan of the War Eagle. Um, I love the
Love War
Screaming
Eagle.
Eagle. That's a great smaller profile spinnerbait. You can fish it fast. Um, that War Eagle finesse spinnerbait. This one right here, great,
That, that's my
dude.
favorites. Yep. Great for little
Absolutely great
lakes.
for
Yep.
bank fishing.
And that's exactly it. That's that skirt I was telling people about earlier, that multi on those. If you pop that with your rod, that back
Oh yeah,
truly looks like a fin. Try it. Try it through the water. Looks like a fin back
yeah,
there.
man. Those are nasty little baits. Actually, you know where I buy mine is at Walmart. My Walmart's always got those War Eagle finesse. I don't see them in the tackle stores here very often, but all right, here you go. How to choose between a Colorado blade or a willow blade?
Thump. And actually, I heard a really cool. So for me, it was always thump. Really, if I had them, and I never got huge into like both blades and sizes, because I didn't have a huge array of them growing up. But I mean, you can tell a distinct difference when you throw a bigger Colorado blade. It's going to have a lot more resistance, and you can feel a lot harder thump. So for me, starting out, I just threw double willows. But what I hear more of now, because I'm usually more of a color guy, as opposed to like making sure I have the exact
Mm-hmm.
right blade size. Like you're really getting down into the nitty gritty when you're doing that. Um, but for me, throwing a double willow, and what I've heard is it mimics the sound, the vibration of a shad more, which I didn't know, as opposed to a smaller Colorado blade, which is supposed to mimic the sound of a bluegill more. I don't know if that's true. I've caught tons of bass actually this year on that pulsator, the bluegill color, right after spawn, post spawn, that just had gold willow blades. So again, it was just the color.
Right.
Like I don't know if that's true or not. Actually, Alex Rudd talked about that on a video where I heard that, and that was really interesting to me because I never got that down into the dirt about it of will this blade mimic a certain bait fish or a certain forage more? Obviously the
Hmm.
shape, yeah, but I
I
don't know.
think
It
it
was an
does.
interesting concept, but
In Florida, the guys like tannic water. They like golden stuff that imitates a golden shine, like copper and gold in their spinnerbait. Man, the forage, it's a true deal, man. And they like crazy skirt colors, like all gold and black and blue with gold blades. Because that water's tannic and different. Here, I like to imitate gizzard shad, so I tend to when the water. Our lakes got hit with zebra mussels the last few years, so it gets really clear in the fall. So I'm going to stuff like, well, I got a Nichols pulsator in the box somewhere, but it's got the silver blades on it. It's got a little blue flake to it. I'm trying to imitate a gizzard shad. Now in the spring, it's all about watercolor. If it's dirty, I'm going with them Colorados. I'm wanting some thump so the fish can feel it. If it's
yep.
clearish, I'm going to go with the willow so they can see it. So, but that's a really good question. I'm not gonna lie, spinnerbait fishing can get really really complicated if you want it to.
Yeah, there's guys that really get. I've never got that big into it of like this exact blade size at this time of year. Like I'm just general colors. So a white with silver blades versus a white and chartreuse versus with gold. That's kind of how I've
What's
always
up, Tackle
done.
Junkie 81, man? Good to see you in the stream here, TJ. I was hoping to get to go to Collinsville to that show this year, but I believe they canceled that. It's really cool tackle show up there close to where TJ lives. Uh, let's see. Someone asked, "What if you had one color soft plastic to fish for the rest of your life? Which would it be?"
Green pumpkin, hands down. Green pumpkin.
Yeah, I'm not going to say green pumpkin because it'd be boring if I agreed. So I would go with summer craw, which is basically green pumpkin with chartreuse.
Chartreuse. Yep.
Let's see here. Let's see. All right, Matt RS. Hey Debo, do you like an owner flashy swimmer hook on a paddle tail?
Absolutely. Yeah. Great combo. I mean, around here, especially if you're a bank angler, I think that's one thing that people don't understand is there's multiple types of swim
Yes.
bait heads or underspin heads. And a lot of new folks that I'll see are just throwing an open hook. They'll say, "Well, I've tried swim baits, and all they do is
Mm-hmm.
get tangled or get snagged." But man, a swim bait, if you have like a weedless swim bait or like an owner flashy swimmer, um, I mean, you can wreck shop. You're not going to get hung up. You can use it as a follow-up bait. So I like those frogging in places that are heavy
Mm-hmm.
grass. Keel weighted or a belly weighted swim bait. I mean, you can come through all sorts of grass and follow up on a
Yeah.
belly.
Baitman Jr. was throwing the Divine 3.2 in a 1/0 flashy swimmer, it's a real small one. But dude, that's a great combo. Um, One, I did that because he's a kid, so he can see the bait and see what he's doing and all that, and he can constantly reel. Um, there's times when I don't like a flashy swimmer, and there's times when I like it. A lot of it depends on the fish's mood. If I feel they're real finicky, I actually don't put it on there. Um, that's just me. Sometimes
I,
it's like a spinnerbait. You don't want all that flash. You want it to be nice and subtle. And the same ways with swim
to
baits.
me, yeah, yeah, to me, it's a step down. So you can start at like spinnerbait, and if you notice they're a little bit finicky, you can go to
Mm-hmm.
underspin, and if you notice they're really finicky, you can drop down to just a plain naked paddle tail, and it's really like that progression.
Matt Bywater, do either of you fish plastic worms seriously? Oh yeah, I love me some big worm fishing, and I get really serious about it when they're eating it.
Rubber
Yeah,
worms. I throw
rubber
me some rubber
worms.
worms.
Uh, let's see. Seems like it's not used much. I think that's kind of what happens. Is that's kind of a pro fishing deal where you don't hear about big worms a lot because the way the tournaments are set up, you very rarely. It's not that time. But dude, how many guys got their start throwing a 7-inch power worm or a red shad culprit? And now we've.
His buddy Joe, who has since passed, great guy. He taught my dad a lot on worm fishing. But I mean, they would just slay it. And I remember it would be dog hot days. I remember one day it seemed like it was like 200 degrees, and they were just dragging. Tequila Sunrise, Ride and
Dude.
Die by Tequila Sunrise.
Hey,
Those
that new
guys.
Strike King Tequila Sunrise Orange, dude, that color's it's good.
When I saw that, yeah, I thought, oh man, I
Yeah.
picked up some. It's
Well,
sweet
you know,
color.
I filmed Mr. Mark Menendez, and he pulled one out, and he said, I hadn't used this thing yet. Of course, he's a good fisherman. I don't think color really mattered to him, but dude, he started catching them and said, I think I got a new favorite race crawl. And he said, this makes me feel 18 again. That was the color when I was 18. But
Yep.
someone asked about the new Sixth Sense, a well 4.5. I don't have any. I didn't even know that bait was coming out. It's basically going to be a little bit fatter body than the Divine swim bait, a little different tail. Ben Milliken told me should have a little bit more head movement, and I look forward to fishing it. So let's see.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of Sixth Sense stuff on my cart. I saw that it also has the pectoral
Yes.
fins on it that they say are supposed to help keeping it run straight, and that's really interesting. I wanted to try that, because I know a lot of people that kind of struggle with getting a swim bait rig straight, and if that helps it,
So swim bait
that'd be
I
pretty
really
sweet.
like the old XPS swim bait. I got some called the Babe.
Hmm.
They clipped the fins off to make it run right. It actually had two sets. The reason was that when the fins were put on the bait, they were offset in the original, and it made it spin. Uh, all right, Dave R. Here's a question I got the other day. How did you meet Mark Menendez? Sounds like you have some history with him. Yes. So Mark Menendez and my dad were in the same Paducah Bass Club for a long time. And when I was about 4 years old, Mark would come over and bring me reels and baits and all that. And then once I got about Baitman Junior's age, he took me fishing, caught my first smallmouth with him and all that. Then he took off on the Bassmaster deal. Always stayed in contact. And we've just been friends, and he's got a TV show and said, hey, do my TV show for me. And I said, sure. So that's where we are. Um, let's see. Chris McVeigh says, I may or may not have ordered 40 packs of game hogs yesterday on TW and 5 packs for Tequila Sunrise. That is a very underrated bait. You got any striking game hogs?
I do. Chris, yeah, Chris is actually a guy that started watching my channel from early start. Great guy, Chris. I appreciate you, man.
Same
Yeah,
here,
I
man.
agree.
He has
Game.
been with me since I was streaming in my kitchen table years ago, just on a phone on Facebook. And I think he's won a couple giveaways. He's a great dude. Uh, let's see. Just ordered a bunch of dark sleeper swim baits from Mega Bass. Hope they're killer. You throwing the dark sleeper? You know it's the way I've been told, or fish it also is like a jig. It's really like a
Yeah, that's what I do. That ended up on my list of worst baits of
really.
2019. I took a bunch
You
of
know
heat
what?
from it.
I am going to agree with you, believe it or not. I just don't think where I live, it's a good fit.
So yeah, and here's the thing, and I prefaced it with, I'm not ripping on the bait for me. So how we talked before about things that work for certain people, certain situations. I've also heard the same. I forget what the guy's name is, the designer with the spiky hair guy.
Oh,
He was talking about it over at Mega Bass, saying, yeah, you fish it like a jig. You can swim it, but it's meant to be fished in the grass. All of my fishing experience with it was from the bank, and the quote unquote weedlessness of it just wasn't there. And I got them all hung up. So that's why I didn't like it. I'm not saying it's a bad
it,
lure. I took a lot of heat from guys on it, but for where
right.
I fish and how I fish, it just worked. That's
Yeah.
all.
Hey, dude, I got a ton of lures like that where I know it's a good bait. It just doesn't work for what I do or where I'm at. So, hook
Yep.
sets are free. What's up, man? Great Instagram account. What is your favorite color DT? A lot of people are going to say, Baitman, yours is chartreuse and purple, but that's false. What's yours, Debo?
I forget the name of the color. It's like an olive with a white and silver scale on
Uh,
top. I couldn't
Olive
tell you.
bleeding shad.
I don't think so. It's not bleeding. I might have it. That or just like your regular silver blackback. That's always hard to beat.
Oh, yeah.
But hold on.
My favorite DT color, believe it or not, is hot mustard. Chartreuse brownback has caught so many. Matter of fact, it's in my TW cart, but I'm really excited about the new root beer chartreuse. If that's in a DT6, if it's DT16 deep cranking, it's Parrot, hands down, Parrot. Um, but DT7, man, is a whole different beast. Demon, chartreuse purple, but overall, if I had to have one color in any DT series, it'd probably be Parrot or Hot Mustard. Yeah, Ike has his own colors on the DT. They've been out for a long time, man. It's getting cold in the bait room. It's like below freezing here in Kentucky. Disco Shad's, that's a great color. That's a great color. Uh, Little John Cellmate. It's one of the best Little John colors they got. Um, yes, I do have a MR6 hook sets of free. I got several. It's a great bait. The action is similar. It's got a lot more side to side wobble. It's not as tight as a DT6. Doesn't float as fast, but it does have a rattle. And they're built really well. You can actually slap the weeds off of them.
Oh, all right. I found it. So I was never huge. My buddy Randy is actually big in the DT stuff, but I had an old one of these, and when Gander was going out, I bought a
Ah,
grip of
that's
them. I don't know how you can tell the color, but it's like a mustardish
yeah,
color
that color. I
bottom. There we
believe
go.
it's Ike's Disco Shad or something like that. It's either that or Penguin.
That one. Yeah, that, or you can never go wrong with the regular. Ah, it's stuck on my jeans. Silver blackback.
Yeah, so those old full like finishes, man. Some of the OG guys will tell
Yep.
you those bright bluebird days, not getting a bite. You go to silver full crankbait, find some riprap rocks, catch some fish. Um, let's see, the DT Flat 3 is my go-to in fall and early spring, late winter. I love the DT Flats, man. I wish they hadn't discontinued. I've been trying to get some of the aughts slim flat size on Tackle Warehouse. They're like back order to December 27th. That's crazy. Um, let's see. Thoughts on the SB57 crankbait? I think that's the rattle trap square bill. You got one of those?
I do not know. I've seen those. I haven't picked any of those up yet.
Yeah,
No.
that was kind of their play on the OSP Blitz crankbait. Um, ooh. Let's see. Chat's starting to slow down. People may be ready to go to bed. We may have to wrap her up here in a minute. I got really caught up. So, Hellabass says the OG Slims are at Omnia. I may have to get on there and order some. But I don't think anyone's got them. They're always waiting on the order. So, here we go. Here we go. Kyle Pillars wants to know, what's your favorite brand of fishing line?
As far as budget, I think Seaguar Red Label is hard to beat. Budget fluorocarbon, I've never had issues with it. I know everybody pumps the Invisex, but I don't notice a huge difference. There is more manageability in it, but Red Label's always treated me well for a budget
Yeah, I've
fluoro.
never had any issue out of it. I'm a Sunline guy. I like Sunline Assassin. I think for the money, it's the best. When I say premium, I mean over $15 a spool. It's not exotic fluorocarbon. You know, it's not like a shooter or gamma, but for 15 to 17 bucks a spool, I don't have any issues with Sunline Assassin. And I have used Red Label. It's not bad either. One thing I will tell people when it comes to line, bad bad spools from the manufacturer do happen. It's not on purpose, but you may get some line that was at the end of a run. You know, like, man, that stuff sucks. Go buy a second spool. Chances are you got a bad run. No, you don't want to do that, but and the line manufacturers know that. A lot of times you can send that email, send them a little photographic evidence. They'll take care of you.
Yep.
Here we go. This is one. If you don't have one, you probably need to put one in your cart. Have you tried the new Fritzside crankbait?
I have not. No, I saw those though.
Dude, it's pretty good, man. For a production plastic flat side, you know, I'm big into the OG, the Balsa stuff. It's a good one. Runs really good. It's unique weighted. Um, I think I think you'd like that. Even from the bank, the 5 dives deep enough, but not. The thing about those flat sides and the coffin bills is they deflect really well. You don't hang them up really bad. Um, I might have to send you a couple balsa jammers too. You know, this secret's.
Oh look, I want to say I looked and I thought they were out because I remember looking at those.
Yeah, they were out. There was a couple colors I wanted, and they were gone. Somebody told me Tackle Warehouse does 100 million a year in sales. If they're doing that, there's no wonder everything's sold out all the time.
I think right now, chain of supply is the big culprit with that.
Yeah, just actually, I work for Pella. They're right there, headquarters near you. We've ran into a lot of issues with just getting parts. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Good questions
Yep.
coming here. Here's one I don't know. Debo, what is your PB?
7, right at 7, 6.9. No, it's not
Dude,
huge,
that's
but
a 7 pound bass is a
for me
big
here in
bass.
Iowa.
Let's see. What are your favorite chatterbait trailers?
For the longest time, it was a Reaction Innovation Skinny Dipper. I don't know if I have any up here. Skinny Dipper or any sort of like smaller paddle tail. Again, not a big one that's going to overpower it because you'll notice you can feel it like on a chatterbait. You want something that works with it because it's already got its own vibration and that water's coming off behind it. So if you've got something that wants to do its own thing back here, plus the chatterbait blade, like you can feel it when you get something on there that doesn't work. But a small paddle tail. Then I kind of moved over a few years ago to also incorporating the
Zacco's
Zacco. I really
juicy.
like the way that looks because it does its own thing. And this year that I started trying that I really don't hear anybody talk about is the deal. I think it looks great as like a finesse chatterbait trailer. I don't hear people talk about it. Skeet Reese Berkeley's the
Yes,
deal.
yes. That's what it was made
Used it.
for. Because so many guys, they
Yeah.
used to have a bait called the Devil Spear. They were cutting it down the middle, flipping it sideways.
Oh yeah. That was an
Yes,
Iconelli. Yeah, an
guys
Iconelli's
were
double
buying
spear.
those and
Yeah.
cutting them, and that's why that came out. So
Interesting.
here you go. Here's some good shout outs. Jackson Deffrey says, Debo, thank you for teaching me to for you teaching me to use a baitcaster.
Happy to help, man.
That's
You're the one that did it. You're the one that picked it up and used it. I just made a video on it.
let's see here. I had a question come up here, and I actually want to address this. Someone made a question. Max Perfect. I need to answer this one too. But this Jay Godby asked, "What's your limit on the cost of a bait and throwing it? Like the $100 plus Hickeys. That's a Ed Chambers Zoom WEC bait. Is that to look or catch fish?" So in the Balsa crankbait world, there's a lot of collectors. I try not to be a collector. There's a few I get. My limit on actually buying a bait to fish with in swim bait, I'll spend $100, 150. But on crankbaits that I can hang up, unless it's rare and I'm not going to collect them. If I know I'm fishing with it and I know I'm probably going to lose it, 30, $40 is the most I'll spend. And honestly, I don't even like spending that. I like to try to find deals.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the two big things are, yeah, stock up on deals, like stock up when you can find a good legit deal. I know it sucks at the time, but I remember when Gander went out the first time, I stocked up on hooks. I was getting the tenor. I think they come in like a weird number, 9 or 11 something in the
Mm-hmm.
Gamakatsu. I always question it. I want to say 11. I don't know why they would give you 11 treble
It's
hooks,
because they
but
got to
anyway,
make. They know you
um,
got even amount of. There's 2 hooks on a bait. Yeah, you got to buy 2 packs.
you got to buy
Yeah,
two, right? Or that one KVD sexy dog that has three on it, I
yeah.
guess. But I stocked up on those, and it makes me sick that I didn't buy like the whole shelf, but they were marked down to 80 cents a pack when they were
God.
going out. And I remember I stocked up on a whole ton of those, a whole bunch of jig heads, stuff that I wouldn't need for a long time. So when you find deals like that, spend splurge and spend a couple $100 because it's going to be stuff
Yeah,
that you use.
hooks,
But
treble hooks, split rings. Dude, part of my tackle warehouse Black Friday is more trebles, split rings. I always stock up on jig trailers, dude. Like, I love the Kinky Beaver or Spicy Beaver from Reaction Innovations, and honestly, it holds up pretty good. But dude, you get on school like I did at Pickwick, dude, you go through a pack real quick.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, just I like deals, dude. I've got our academy runs deals all the time, and I'll find like Gamakatsu, EWG hooks, owner beast hooks. Man, I found them on sale for $4. I'm like, I don't even need this size, but I'm buying them. And guess what? I've had to use them. Oh, let's see.
Yep.
We're gonna answer a few more questions. I'm getting cold in the bait room. We've been on almost 2 hours, Debo. It doesn't feel like it.
Are
Yeah.
we seriously?
So we're fixed.
I was thinking probably come
Yeah,
up on
you're
an
actually an
hour.
hour behind me,
Wow.
so it's only 8:45 there where you're at. Let's see here. What are your thoughts on the man bear pig?
Oh, that was one that I hadn't heard about. I mean, I had always fished. I don't have any up there. Actually, I do have the man bear pig here. I'd always fished the sweet beaver. So for me, switching over, like I didn't feel like I needed it. But if you've never seen the man bear pig, it's almost like a finesse um,
Yeah,
brush hog. And I tell you what, like the look of it, those little
hmm
legs, awesome in the water. It's got the
the
little gills
only
here. It's a great finesse
yes,
option.
it's good on a wobblehead. By the way, I don't know if you've ever fished it on a wobblehead. It's really good on one.
I decided I've never caught anything on it. I've tried it. Wobbleheads are kind of
Yes.
hard, like to fish from the bank and let get that, that pebbly kind of small rock. But so many spots from the bank, you get into that big chunk rock and those babies are
Um,
goners.
it's one of the best Carolina rig baits out there. I've heard, I know a lot of guys that I know big time Carolina riggers buy them and say they do. They're awesome. The only thing I know that's close to that is the old Berkeley Power Hogs. Kind of got that similar kind of deal to it.
Yep.
All right. William asked a good question earlier. Do you think any pros are using high-end $400 rod blanks wrapped with the graphics of their $100 sponsors? I actually think that's a false. I don't think very few, if any, pros are got high-end NRX rods and putting favorite across it. They would get there's too many cameras, too many people in and out the boats, and they would get exposed really
Yeah.
quick.
They're getting that stuff for free anyway. They're getting top of the line stuff, for free or at highly discounted, a lot of those guys anyway. So it's, they want to get the best they can get
Yeah,
from
and
their
I know
sponsor.
some guys are crap on like favorite rods and stuff like that because of the Googans and whatnot. But one of my good friends fishes favorite rods, Zach Burge, and dude, hey, regular phone conversations tell me, dude, they're really really good for what I do. He said, "Are they G Loomis?" No, but they're not. They're not junk. And time for guys that's fishing for a living for $100,000 a tournament, good enough for me. Enough said. Again, a lot of it's personal preference, Debo, when it comes to rod and reels.
That's so huge in the fishing industry is what you have. I can't think of the word right now. I want to say faith in, but you know what I mean. Once you get onto something and you kind of adapt to that brand loyalty. There we go. Once you get brand loyalty in a fishing company, I feel like is huge. How often do you hear a guy say, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm a Shimano guy. That's all I fish." You hear that so often. And it's just like anything. Once you get on a brand or a lure or something, so much of it's just that confidence, that loyalty to it.
Anyway, all right, we'll answer one more question. Have you ever fished the Berkeley Sick Fish? So far, no fish on it yet, but I think it's so realistic. So, the Sick Fish is the Berkeley version of this guy right here, which is the Little Creeper All American Trash Fish. You ever use that bait? The Berkeley version.
No,
This is
I haven't used
actually a
that one.
really good bait that you can get away with from the bank too, Debo. It's a creeper though. The name Little Creeper Trash Fish. You want to reel it really, really slow. But all right, anything else you want to put out there before we end the stream here?
No, man, I'm honored to be on. Thank you so much for having me. That was a bunch of fun. I'm
Yeah,
definitely
man.
down. Once I get mine,
Oh, I lost you there for a second.
Oh, I was just gonna say, once I get mine figured out, I would like to have some guests too. So
Yeah,
more
dude.
than welcome online.
Anytime, man. I think the more the merrier. If you got some, send me a message on Instagram. If you guys got any suggestions who to get on the stream, I'll definitely try. Whether it's pro fishermen, amazing YouTubers like Debo, we'll do it. That's kind of what I want to grow this into. Instead of just me streaming by myself, get Eric, get Debo, we'll get Alex, Rudd, whoever. We just talk fishing, and that's kind of the basis of Baitman Live. So, guys, I want to thank you again, Debo. Make sure you guys sub to his channel, follow him on Instagram. Uh, I'm not going to make a thumbnail. I'm just going to pick a cool scene from this out and put up there. But we're going to jump off YouTube. I'm going to go hang out with Bait Junior. And thank you guys again for joining the question. Uh, so long, fishing
Yeah,
friends. Is that how you say
thank
it?
you.
So
What's
long,
that?
fishing friends. Is that how you say it?
Peace and friends. Until next time.